expert interviews, and unparalleled coverage of the issues you care about. Lead Story Prime, your front row seat to the most compelling discussions. Lead Story Prime, where the truth comes first. Only on CVM TV.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. It's Thursday, April 24, 2025. I'm Nika Lewis. Thank you so much for joining us. In this CVM News follow-up, fresh concerns are being raised about the handling of a police encounter involving a Glengoffe High School student. The opposition is now intensifying calls for accountability and reform within the Jamaica Constabulary Force. With the details, here's Chantae McNeil.
Opposition spokesperson on justice, Senator Donna Scott Motley, is renewing calls for the Jamaica Constabulary Force to urgently review its protocols, especially when dealing with children. Her appeal follows a CVM report featuring a 15-year-old Glengoffe High School student who claims he was assaulted by two police officers, leaving him bruised, limping, and with torn clothes. She's calling on the relevant authorities to step in to ensure a fulsome and transparent investigation and that the officers involved take full accountability.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force must act now to reform its culture. We need mandatory training in human rights, de-escalation, and sensitivity, especially towards our children. This moment demands more than anger, it demands action. Our security forces must reflect the values of the people they serve. Brutality cannot be met with silence.
A portion of the incident was caught on camera. The teen is seen being grabbed by his shirt, one officer gripping a baton, the other pulling his arm, both dragging him toward their service vehicle, ordering him inside, and the child resisting. The boy says it all started when he was stopped and searched while walking home with three female schoolmates. Officers found nothing, but after he reportedly remarked, "I don't like the police," he says things escalated. According to him, he was told he'd be charged for indecent language when he resisted entering the vehicle. He says he was struck multiple times with a baton and manhandled. His clothes also torn in the scuffle. For now, police remain tight-lipped. However, CVM News has learned the teen has been charged with indecent language, malicious destruction of property, resisting arrest, and using abusive and calumnious language. He's out on bail and is due in court on April 29. Scott Motley says the incident exposes a deeper issue, highlighting the urgent need for reform in how the nation protects its most vulnerable.
It is a stark reminder of the urgent need for systemic change in how we protect our most vulnerable. To the family of this brave young student, we stand with you. To the Jamaican people outraged by this injustice, we hear you. The video of this child's suffering has shaken our nation, and it is unacceptable. Those sworn to serve and protect must never become agents of fear or harm.
The situation has since been reported to both the Inspectorate and Professional Standards Bureau, IPROBE, and the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, who are actively investigating the matter. Chantae McNeil, CVM News.
As Jamaica approaches its next general elections, the Manchester Central constituency has emerged a pivotal battleground for both the People's National Party PNP and the governing Jamaica Labour Party JLP. Both parties are expected to mobilize significant resources in preparation for what is anticipated to be a closely contested election cycle. Andre Jebinson reports on the constituency's political antecedents.
The 2020 general election produced many surprises, but Manchester Central in particular stunned political observers. Senator Peter Bunting, the PNP candidate, was a heavyweight. He was first sent into the constituency in 2007 when it became apparent that the party was about to lose the seat to the JLP's Sally Porteous. He ended up winning by 115 votes. In 2011, he faced off against Danville Walker, a formidable opponent and former customs boss. Despite Walker's strong challenge, Bunting managed to win again by a larger margin of 539 votes. In 2016, however, Bunting's margin crossed the 1,000 vote mark, more than doubling his previous margin. The JLP's St. Aubin Bartlett was his opponent. Throughout that period, Bunting had been PNP General Secretary, Minister of National Security, and once challenged Dr. Peter Phillips for leadership of the PNP. Prior to 2020, Rhoda Crawford's main political feat was being elected as Deputy General Secretary of G2K, the young professional arm of the JLP. On election night in 2020, tensions ran high within the PNP camp. They were acutely aware that they needed strong support from the Belfield Hills, a traditional stronghold for the party, to counteract Crawford's growing advantage in other areas. That did not happen. Crawford walked away with 8,140 votes to Bunting's 6,989, a difference of 1,151. Manchester Central has a history of close elections. However, since it was first contested in 1967, the PNP has dominated the seat, winning it in 10 out of 13 elections. The JLP, on the other hand, has only managed to secure victory 3 times, 1980, 1983, and most recently 2020. The PNP did not contest the election in 1983. Now, both parties are keenly eyeing Manchester Central as a critical prize. The PNP is motivated to reclaim this seat with Donovan Mitchell at the helm, who currently serves as Mayor of Mandeville and Councillor for the Royal Flat Division. The PNP swept all 4 divisions within Manchester Central in the recent local government election: Knockpatrick, Mandeville, Royal Flat and Belfield. The JLP has traditionally relied on support from the Knockpatrick division. That diminished in 2024. The PNP's overall advantage of 1,205 votes from the local government elections gives them renewed confidence that they can reclaim Manchester Central. On the other hand of this political equation, Crawford is vying for re-election for a second term. Her campaign argues that she has made sufficient progress during her initial term to warrant a second chance at representing Manchester Central. Andre Jebinson, CVM News.
The opposition People's National Party last evening endorsed its standard bearer in Southeast St. Anne to replace Lisa Hanna. However, it was not without political jabs being thrown at the Jamaica Labour Party. More in this report. Southeast St. Anne was ignited Wednesday by leading voices of the People's National Party as it launched its election campaign for standard bearer Dr. Kenneth Russell. He is set to replace the incumbent Lisa Hanna on the ballot after she declared she would not seek re-election. The people of Claremont and its environs heard from Powerhouse and General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell, who assured a win was inevitable under the PNP column.
There was a gentleman that applied to run for the PNP in South Manchester, and we told him, no, you're not quite ready yet. Him said, all right, him applied to run for the poorest division in South Manchester for the PNP. We said, no, you're not quite ready yet. Him switch side and go over the JLP side and say, more apply for run for the JLP in South Manchester. Then tell him, no, you're not ready yet. And now then send him from Manchester, send him come up here. For Kenneth, give him a beating. Cause him have to get a beating. Him must get a beating.
Dr. Campbell went further, picking at concerns regarding agriculture. He insists that despite the minister's efforts to provide irrigation lands, only a meager 15% is being provided for the farmers to progress.
When we speak When we speak about irrigation, he comes to say, but we're doing this and we're doing that. We have 120,000 acres of arable land in Jamaica, hectares of arable land in Jamaica. And what he is doing is going to bring irrigation to 3%. So I don't know what he mean when Julian talk about it, him like him don't want nobody talk. When I talk, it's like him don't want nobody talk. Well, the next PNP government is going to make irrigation a priority to the people and the farmers of Southeast Central and the rest of Central, so you can go there and produce.
He reasons that beyond this, the Jamaica Labour Party has used importation permits to disrupt the local farming sector. Meanwhile, he ventured into other matters concerning the Prime Minister as he countered the JLP's many firsts.
I hear them, comrade leader, saying that they are the first to do this and they are the first to do that. And I want to say tonight from Claremont, they are the first government that has had a Prime Minister who cannot be certified after 3 years. They are the first government that has a Prime Minister that wants to strike out the act of illicit enrichment. They are the first government that has a Minister of Health where a bill for a hospital moved from $2 billion to $26 billion.
CVM News at 7 continues in a moment.
Pepperoni, Hawaiian, chicken chunks, vegetarian. There's no pressure to choose with Pizza Hut's amazing 4. You get 4 juicy flavors with one less choice to make. Pizza Hut, now that's delivery.
Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yeah.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central. As of Tuesday, April 15, Fan Central will be moving to 9 p.m.
Jamaica is on a transformative path, and the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation and its agencies are leading the way. McJC Matrix is back for Season 2, bringing you the latest on the projects shaping our nation's future. Big changes, bold moves. This is the Season 2 of the McJC Matrix, driving development, transforming lives.
Welcome back. Continuing the news. Calls have resurfaced for the reinstatement of the Office of the Political Ombudsman, OPO, after the government transferred its functions to the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, ECJ, in 2024. However, in a CVM News exclusive, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck expressed frustration with the ECJ for allegedly not fulfilling its agreed responsibilities.
First of all, I'm a little disappointed that the ECJ has not made any pronouncement on the role that it should play for the political ombudsman, which was subsumed with it. We didn't put it there just like that. We had discussions with the ECJ, and they acknowledged and accepted the role before we passed the legislation. After we passed the legislation, I am aware that funding was provided to the ECJ to ensure that an office of a political ombudsman could function. I cannot tell you what has happened. I'm just, like everyone else, a little disappointed that nothing has happened. But I have no doubt that the ECJ is not only capable but is the most appropriate body to take on this role of good political conduct.
In 2023, the government said its decision to phase out the Office of the Political Ombudsman was partly based on projected savings of more than $30 million by assigning its duties to the ECJ. However, Minister Chuck has indicated that the ECJ's current budget with the Office of the Political Ombudsman subsumed has significantly increased.
46 million was provided in 23-24. to the office of the then political ombudsman. Whether all was used, I don't know. Last year, that is 24-25, 60 million was provided. Now, when I examined the figures for last year, 60 million, most of it was to set up the office and probably to pay staff. The original 46 million included rental. But in the provision for last year's 24-25, there was no provision for rental because you wouldn't need a rental. The ECJ would have offices, hopefully that they could provide space for the office of a political ombudsman or director of political conduct. So 60 million was provided. Whether they use any, I don't know. Because to the best of my knowledge, that those fundings could have included promoting what would be considered good political conduct.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security says it is actively investigating the employment status of several Chinese nationals reportedly working as mechanics at a car service in Ferry. Concerns have been raised about whether the workers are legally employed or possess valid work permits. In a statement today, the ministry confirmed that a probe is now underway.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security is aware of the public concerns surrounding the employment status of several Chinese nationals reportedly engaged as mechanics in Jamaica. We want to assure the public that a comprehensive investigation is currently underway to determine whether all legal and regulatory requirements, including valid work permits and employment documentation, have been satisfied. As the matter is active, we are unable to speak specifically to the details at this time. However, the ministry is working in full coordination with the relevant agencies to verify the facts and ensure that all applicable laws are upheld. The rights of both foreign workers and Jamaican citizens remain a priority, and any breaches, if found, will be addressed in accordance with the law. We remain committed to transparency, due process, and the protection of our labour market integrity. Updates are going to be provided to the public as soon as the investigation has concluded and the findings are formally reviewed.
With the Jamaica Teaching Council bill to be tabled in the Senate, its relevance to the teaching profession has been questioned. Immediate past president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, the JTA, Leighton Johnson, shares his position on the bill. To tell us more, here's Adrian Williams.
The government has tabled the Jamaica Teaching Council bill, which it believes is key legislation in improving professional standards and compliance in teaching. This is something immediate past President Leighton Johnson believes is good on one hand, but still has concerns about it addressing key concerns of the educators.
We would have hoped that at this time, the recommendations that we made to improve the bill, to improve the overall outlook and perception of the bill would have been taken into consideration. And to date, we are not seeing that these recommendations have been taken into consideration. Quite unfortunate.
Johnson believes the ambiguity could lead to a financial strain on teachers as wage negotiations are being discussed.
At this point, we are not sure about what the fee structure is going to be like. Is this going to be burdensome on our teachers? Is this going to be onerous? Is this going to lead to our teachers feeling a sense of exploitation? We do not know.
Teacher migration, he says, is a matter not addressed by the bill and instead only outlines punitive measures which he describes as discouraging.
It doesn't incentivize teachers. It doesn't support support teachers in the way that we think teachers need to be supported. It doesn't encourage the retention of teachers. We hear about hefty fines being placed on teachers. This, in my estimation, from the standpoint of the Jamaica Teachers Association, is not encouraging.
Adrian Williams for CVM News.
There's lots more to come in CVM News at 7. Do stay with us.
From politics to global events, from social issues to breaking news, Lead Story Prime dives deeper, cuts through the noise, and uncovers the stories that shape your world. Join us every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for Lead Story Prime with me, George Davis, for an hour of incisive analysis, expert interviews, and unparalleled coverage of the issues you care about. Lead Story Prime, your front row seat to the most compelling discussions. Lead Story Prime, where the truth comes first. Only on CVM TV.
Join my private room. Only $1,000 for a grand time.
That I know me. We never said that. But who going believe me?
That is correct. $4,350,000. Yes, go ahead. $4 million? I never approved that.
Yes, me go doctor tomorrow. So me have to get the money today, no longer. Then no me face that. Me never make no record or beg nobody no money.
Deepfakes are AI-generated images and videos made to look and sound like people we know and trust. They're used to spread misinformation, destroy reputations, and are used to commit fraud and scams.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes. Protect yourself. For more information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or scan the QR code on screen.
Welcome back. So, after years of watching statutory deductions from your paycheck, you assume your benefits are secure until you're told they were never paid over. In this week's edition of Query This, Chantae McNeil uncovers the legal fallout when employers fail to fulfill their duty and the recourse employees have.
Query This. After years of hard work with the same company, you're finally ready to take the next step to apply for an NHT loan to secure your dream home. But then you receive the shocking news that you're not eligible because you haven't been paying your taxes. Yet, every payslip says otherwise. Clear deductions, month after month. But your employer hasn't been paying those funds over. What would you do?
It's not paid over. Basically, I'm going to have that reported to the Tax Administration of Jamaica. Get my lawyer, basically, because I cannot be taking my money. I'm not.
What am I supposed to do? I can't go down there because that's not going to get the... I will be hurt, definitely. But I would definitely follow the advice given by NHT or any of the bodies that they would not have been paid over in.
If you're collecting money from me and you're not putting it where it's supposed to go, where you're putting it at the end of the day, you basically would have to compensate me for all of the money that you put in your account and never make me get the benefit from it.
And I'd be shocked. I would be very shocked. I'd be upset. I'd be angry. I think I would have to visit the Ministry of Labour. Yeah, because I'm probably a lawyer office.
Under the income tax, national insurance, national housing trust, and education tax acts, employers have a legal duty to deduct and remit statutory contributions on behalf of employees to the Tax Administration Jamaica. When that duty is breached, labor law attorney Carla Ann Roper says compliance officers from the relevant agencies can investigate, but the penalties for employers can go far beyond just audits.
In the case of NIS, it's $10,000 or triple the amount which is owing, whichever is greater. In the case of the NHT, it's $30,000 or triple the amount which is outstanding. In default of payment, you can get up to a maximum of 12 months imprisonment. There's an interesting provisions under the National Insurance Act that if an employee has lost a benefit by virtue of the actions of an employer, they are empowered to make a claim as a civil debt in the courts, so they can sue for the value of the benefit.
But while enforcement is possible, she warns that the process can be long and emotionally taxing. Hiring a lawyer, getting to court, waiting for a judgment, it all takes time. And since this is for social benefits, the money is redirected to the consolidated funds. And so, even if the employer ends up in prison, it's a hollow win for the employee. And that's why Roper says employees must stay vigilant.
Don't wait until it's time for you to get your pension. You start wonder if your money pay over. You understand? Look after your own well-being. Watch what is happening, and certainly for NHT, they are making it easier. You go on your register ever so often, you go and check what's the status of my contributions.
But what if you're aware of the issue and afraid to speak up? What if you did raise the alarm and got victimized? What then?
Make an anonymous call to the compliance departments, and as I said, they have the power under law to launch an investigation. They don't have to say Tom Stroke or Mary Jane say you never pay over their money. The employee need not be afraid.
At the end of the day, this issue isn't just about money. It's about trust, dignity, and your future. When your employer fails you, it doesn't just hurt, it costs you. If you find yourself in this situation, take action. The law is there to protect you, but you must be ready to use it. That's it for this week's episode of Query This. If you're facing a legal dilemma or need guidance, reach out at cmcneil@cvmtv.com. I'll help you find the tools and people to tackle your legal battles.
We take a break, but there's more to come, so stay with us.
KFC saucy wings tossed in savory mango habanero or buffalo sauce. KFC, it's finger looking good. The time by KFC is
7:30. Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins, and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yeah. Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central. As of Tuesday, April 15, Fan Central will be moving to 9 p.m.
In a world where innovation meets tradition, agriculture is evolving like never before. From the latest sustainable farming technologies to age-old practices passed down through generation, agriculture is
precious to me.
I love the animals. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I love working.
Join us right here on CVM TV every Sunday during news at 7 as we explore the people, the science, and the breakthroughs that are shaping the way we grow, eat, and live. You don't want to miss it. This is Farming Forward.
Welcome back. Now to what's happening online.
So, what's caught your eye online today? Jamaica's team for the 2025 World Athletics Relays is set, featuring top athletes like Sherika Jackson, Shelley and Fraser Price, Johan Blake, twin sprinters Tina and Tia Clayton, and rising stars Akeem Blake and Kishane Thompson. The team will compete in Guangzhou, China on May 10 to 11. Here are some of your comments. @_Blaze_strength writes, no Nikisha, no Cherokee, no Civil, no Alien. @King CJ says, so I go on for Elendo. Big up all other athletes. @Galactica Catty comments, having two sisters in the lineup is monumental. @Misfire House shares, I like both women and men lineup in the 4x1 relays. It's good from last year. @Ian.Swaby.79 adds, glad to see you and Blake still going. @Asia_XX._post. And then closer to the relay they back up. And that's what's trending in our online community today. Continue to share your thoughts with us on X at CVM TV and CVM Television on Facebook. I'm Michael Parr.
And now to the business report with Joel Crosskill.
Lots to share with you in the business report today about a pipe dream made into a reality with the turn of a valve for a project that is hoped will have a cascading effect on agricultural productivity in Jamaica's southern plains, as the long-awaited Parnassus irrigation system and Agro-park in Clarendon was officially unveiled.
Well, let me tell you that this is not a facade. When I turn this pipe, this valve, you will see water. And this water is what will be the basis on which the agricultural park will flourish. This symbolic turning of this valve represents the fruition of the good support, development support from the United Kingdom, almost $4 billion in support, in addition to the resources of the government of Jamaica and the technical expertise and management of the government of Jamaica to bring this all together so that the farmers can finally have irrigation in their fields. We're not going to waste it.
As mentioned by the Prime Minister, the transformational project was made possible in large part due to the $3.5 billion Jamaican dollars in grant funding provided by the UK government through its UK Caribbean Infrastructure Fund. As British High Commissioner to Jamaica, Judith Slater describes its support of high-quality, climate-resilient infrastructure that drives economic growth and has lasting social impact.
This is the culmination of a huge amount of work, as many of you here today know. And it's the first of what I hope will be a number of celebrations, Minister Green is nodding, over the coming months as the rest of this project comes on stream. So that's at Amity Hall and Essex Valley in addition to Parnassus. And we're standing in a place where once fields were difficult to irrigate, where access to technology was limited. Today, with innovation and partnership, we're opening the way to harvest opportunity, turning challenges into growth. And the UK government is proud to have funded this vital agricultural development project, which speaks directly to the needs of Jamaica. As we all know, agriculture is the backbone of Jamaica's economy, and so this project is a really important part of the UK Caribbean Infrastructure Fund portfolio. The fund, which was launched in 2016, provides £350 million or 72.3 billion Jamaican dollars in grant funding across the Caribbean. But Jamaica is the joint largest beneficiary with an allocation of 11 billion Jamaican dollars.
Dr. Darren Newman, advisor to the Vice President of the Caribbean Development Bank, of which Jamaica is a 17% shareholder, framed the project as the representation of a shared vision for a climate-resilient and food-secure country.
Let today mark a turning point, not just for this community, but for the region, and the Caribbean Development Bank stands behind that. We look forward to the farmers using the investments to fuel intergenerational prosperity, to build a legacy of resilience and equity and prosperity that will nourish us for decades and decades to come. Thank you so much for making this investment a catalyst for a more food security Caribbean, one farmer at a time.
Anita Facey is one such farmer who, having benefited from the new lease agreements, was effusive in her praise.
It is with humility that I stand here today on behalf of my fellow land lease recipients, expressing appreciation to the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, the British High Commission, the Agro-Investment Corporation, the National Irrigation Commission, and all the other key stakeholders and agencies who have provisioned us the opportunity to access not just land, but also a new start for Jamaican farmers. Saying thanks to the agencies involved in this historical occasion is just mere words, but our true gratitude will be seen in heightened production and increased economic development.
One that favours inclusivity, according to Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Floyd Green.
Let me highlight, we are not displacing the farmers that were there. Very important. We have reserved